Hey, welcome to another Myth of Hockey. The most annoying thing I get when I explain to people that Shesterkin's stats were very average last year and that he doesn't deserve 12 million, or when I say Brodeur's stats were very average and he had some really horrible games. In fact, he had 178 horrible games in his career. He had 150 shutouts, but nobody talks about the 178 horrible games that he had. And here, I'll just quickly show you these games. So look at these games here. And what I did is I did a search, 4 or more goals against, so 4, 5, 6 goals against, with an less than 870 save percentage. And look at these games here as we scroll through them. These are awful, awful hockey games. But here's the thing. I don't blame Brodeur for these awful games because, again, the goalie is so team dependent. The reason Brodeur had 178 bad, horrible statistical games and he had 150 shutouts is because of, it's not rocket science, people. You ready for this? It's because of quality shots and quality situations. These were not off nights, these 178 games. Just like his 150 games of shutouts doesn't mean he was great that night either. And this is the myth of hockey. Goalies do not control quality shots or quality situations. But here's where I go bananas. When people say, yeah, but the eye test tells us Brodeur and Shesterkin are amazing goalies. Really, the eye test. In order for you as a fan or even an expert, so-called, when it comes to goaltending, when they say, well, the eye test says this, that Shesterkin and Brodeur and Waugh and Hasek and Vasilevskiy were above average or great goalies, you would had to have watched every single goalie their games played to be able to say that the eye test says Vasilevskiy was better than Talbot, or Shesterkin's eye test tells me he's better than whoever. It doesn't matter who it is. Mrazek. Because Mrazek actually had better stats last year than Shesterkin. Yeah, that's right. Not the stats that you think, but yes, when we look at quality starts, Mrazek had more quality starts than Shesterkin. So the eye test, unless you've watched Mrazek play 30, 40 times, you can't use eye test because you've seen Shesterkin play 30, 40 times. You'd have to watch every goalie 30, 40 times. So that means you're busy. And there's no way we can say Brodeur was better than the average goalie unless you've watched every single game of the other goalies, or at least 30, 40, 50% of those games to do the eye test. It's garbage. What you've done, and by the way, when we look at Brodeur and Waugh, what we're doing, it's called survivorship bias. And what that means, if you look up survivorship bias, basically what it means is the experts think that Brodeur was great because he won Stanley Cups and he had these shutouts and he had a low goals against. But again, this is called survivorship or survival bias because you didn't watch all the other goalies play. So we're just assuming that because he was a winner, he must have been better than the loser. But again, aren't goalies team dependent? The better the situation, the better the insulation and protection. Obviously, Brodeur's going to do better. He had the best defense ever assembled. The New Jersey Devils with Niedermayer and Stevens and Danico and White and Rafalski. I could go on and on and on. And the systems were amazing. I mean, in his prime, the Devils only gave up 24.5 shots per game. Some of the other teams were giving up 34.5 shots per game. So how can you say Brodeur was a great goalie? You can't. Nobody can. I don't know who the best goalie was ever. Nobody knows because the insulation and the protection is different for every single team. And goalies do not control that. The forwards and defensemen control quality shots and quality situations. So Brodeur, for all we know, was a below average goalie. This is fact, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Stop using eye test. You would had to have watched every single goalie play 50% of their games to be able to say the eye test. The eye test. It's garbage. You can't say that.